So I've always loved skateboarding video games because I was a skateboarder. I still kind of claim that I am a skateboarder. I still own a skateboard, but obviously I'm not doing tricks anymore or anything like that. But it was a huge part of my life growing up and definitely a part of my hoodlum side. Now, as video games came along, we ended up getting a whole subgenre of skateboarding games. There were games like Tony Hawk, which was for the arcade kids. Of course, you had Skate, which came along and gave more of a simulation style of it. But there was actually a PlayStation 1 game called Thrasher Skate and Destroy that was kind of a simulation style game as well, and it was pretty damn hard. The way that you would control your skateboarder and doing tricks and doing moves actually took like effort. Like, it felt like you were actually skateboarding at times. Now, skateboarding games on the Nintendo Switch are few and far between. There's the Ollie games, which, you know, they're fine. They're arcadey little experiences. You had the Tony Hawk 1+2 Remastered, which was absolutely fantastic. But as far as simulation stuff is concerned, there's been nothing. You know, Skater XL was supposed to come to the system. It was announced as coming out in like 2019 and it just completely disappeared. Don't bother them on Instagram because they won't answer your question if the game is still coming out. But another game has released on the Nintendo Switch with a strong emphasis on simulation because, well, it's in the title of the game. It's called Session Skate Sim, which is very hard to say in a lot of alliteration. Now, I'm actually familiar with this game. There was an open beta for this game on the Xbox, and I hated it. I hated this game and everything this game had to offer. I hated the controls, and we'll talk about the controls in just a minute. But to see a simulation-style skateboarding game on the Nintendo Switch, I've always wanted that because I've always felt like this would be a perfect game to play portably. So this game randomly released out of the blue. It was $50, a $60 digital deluxe version as well. I just picked up the $50 version because I love you guys, but that's kind of a lot of money for a game that I'm probably not going to like. And holy hell, does this game do a terrible job at first impressions. You're thrown into this world of Session Skate Sim. You create your character and you quickly realize it's just like preset looking people. You can't like add facial hair or anything like that. You can't change body sizes. It's very, very basic in terms of character creation, which, I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. It's 2023. I understand that this is a smaller game from a smaller studio, but come on, people. You could put some more customization options. You can't even change the color of your hair, for Christ's sakes, in this thing. But you're thrusted into the game. It gives you a tutorial section, and you realize just how convoluted these controls are. Now, I'm going to explain these controls to you, and I'm going to try to talk to you in like a non-skateboarding way, but this is definitely a game that if you have an understanding of skateboarding, it's definitely going to help. Enjoy some random gameplay footage where I'm falling a lot, because basically what this game does is each analog stick is a foot. In order to kind of shift left and right as far as steering is concerned, you use the ZR and ZL buttons in order to do that. So ZL, you move to the left, ZR, you move to the right. If you use the left analog stick like you want to use, because everyone would want to use their left analog stick to control their characters because they've been doing that since the dawn of freaking time when it comes to skateboarding games, you end up kind of messing yourself up because you're positioning your feet. You see, each analog stick is basically a foot. So when you want to do an ollie, you have to hold back on the R trigger or the R stick in order to put your feet back and then pop with the L stick. So you hold down on the analog stick for right and up, and you flick up on the analog stick for left in order to do an ollie. Now, if that sounds very complicated to you, guess what, kiddies? It is. And you're not going to be doing Tony Hawk 900s in this game right off the bat. This game is a lot of trial and error, and there is more error and more error and more error as you continually skate throughout this game, because obviously you're not just going to be doing ollies and stuff like that. You got to do grinds, got to do manuals, got to do flip tricks, you got to do, you know, shove-its and stuff like that. You got to change position, you got to do your switch and your fakie moves and stuff like that. So the game is trying to like get you into it, and just wrapping your mind around how you do tricks is ridiculous. It is, because it's so against everything that you ever played in a skateboarding game before, and it just feels so unnatural. Obviously, you're looking at the visuals of this game, and it looks like a smorgasbord of nonsense. There's N64 trees all over the place. The frame rate is pretty solid throughout. However, there are some dips from time to time. There's tons of artifacting like that used to happen on the Sega Saturn with this game, where things just become a jumbled mess of like little pixels and stuff like that. It's even worse in handheld mode. It's just not a very visually appealing game. You have these big worlds that you could skateboard in. You could skateboard in New York, Philadelphia, and San Francisco. Now, what's interesting about these is I guess there's been a zombie apocalypse because there is not a soul in sight except for the story mode of the game. Yes, there is a story mode of the game. You basically meet different skateboarders and they tell you to do certain types of tricks and you get experience points. What do those experience points do? Nothing. They do absolutely nothing. It's just for a total overall score after you beat the very short story mode of this game. Now, you do get money by doing these things, and the money is kind of cool because it allows you to buy different sorts of shoes and jeans and tops and stuff and different skateboards, which, you know, there is a good variety of stuff here. There's like Sal 23s in this game, the brown and gum ones, which are just so dope because, like, I had a pair of those and people would think they were like Jordans or like Tim's or something like that in high school. I'd be like, nah, son, Sal 23s, Sal 23s. There's even blind boards in there as well. I remember I bought a blind Rasta Reaper board and I broke it the same day, and we pranked CCS that night and we called him up, and like my buddy was on the phone. He's like, do you know what a Rastus is anyways? And the lady was like, what? And he was like, a Rastus. Like, that was the kind of shit we did when I was, you know, a bit of a delinquent. But, you know, there is a good variety of different stuff here, but just like walking around the skate shop, like everything looks horrible. Everything looks horrible in this game. The soundtrack, it's mostly reggae. There's like one rap song in the game. There's no variety whatsoever. You know, obviously a lot of skateboarders like things like metal and punk music. It kind of goes hand in hand. And then you have the hip hop fans. And then you also have, of course, the reggae fans. Smoking a little ganj, you know, relaxing, doing some tricks and stuff like that. But, you know, the lack of variety in the music is kind of annoying. I feel like I get it. Once again, this is a very small budget game, but this town, all these towns are completely vacant of anything. There's no moving cars, there's no moving trucks. Like, make it a zombie apocalypse sort of storyline or something like that, because there's nothing going on with the storyline. You get this experience for absolutely no reason, as it does nothing except give you an overall score at the end, which you could then like tell your friends or something like that. Now, saying all that, you would think, okay, well, it's clear RGT hates this game, and it's not that easy. You see, it's not that easy because somewhere along the way of playing this game that doesn't look very good, that doesn't play very good, and the control scheme is absolutely ridiculous, something clicked with me. Something clicked with me. It's supposed to be hard, and I don't even know if this is by design or anything like that. I don't know if this is what they intended with this game, but this is how I am envisioning this game. It's supposed to be hard because it's supposed to be a skateboarding simulation game. You see, with a game like Skate, you can land any sort of trick whenever you want. Like, once you sort of understand, you know, how the controls work in the game. It's very basic. Tony Hawk, same sort of thing. But this game, you go to a spot and you struggle. You struggle to do a basic trick. You struggle to do a basic grind. You struggle to do a lot of things, which is how skateboarding really is. Like, yeah, maybe occasionally you'll get a trick first try or something like that, but if you pull up to a spot, you know, you investigate it. You probably have to try it a couple times before you do something. You know, you have to have a trick in mind when you're gearing up towards something, when you want to grind something. You have to position your body in a perfect way, kind of like how you have to do in real life. Everything is sort of based on a simulation mentality, almost to a fault with this game, because I feel like that's going to hold this game back so much from people, because most people are not going to want to learn this control scheme. The only reason I learned this control scheme and I kept playing this game was because I wanted to be informed when making this video. You know, when I played the beta of this game, like I said, I hated the control scheme, and I am someone who skateboarded for many years. I still own a skateboard. I still own some of the shoes. Got a pair of Supras upstairs, DC, some Nike skateboardings. But anyways, I hated these controls because they're so convoluted and they're so difficult, and to do anything within the game is a practice in patience with it. But that's kind of how skateboarding actually is. This game is $50. You should not spend $50 on this game. No, hell no. Hell no, you should not spend $50 on this game, especially if you're not someone who has patience and likes skateboarding. You know, if you don't love skateboarding, if you haven't grown up skateboarding, if skateboarding wasn't a huge part of your life, you will hate this game. Stay away from it. If you love skateboarding and you're a diehard, I still don't think it's worth $50. You know, I don't regret my purchase because I had to make this video, but it's definitely not worth $50. It's an ugly game. It's a clunky game. It needs some patches. And the visuals are very, you know, yeah, and it's just not great. But there's something about the gameplay that if you're a skateboarder and you're a bit patient, you know, landing that trick that you wanted to do just feels so satisfying. And looking at it on the replay, you know, it looks pretty good. You know, the replays look pretty nice. It's pretty in-depth stuff. So It's a very mixed bag, leaning more towards the bad side. It's mediocre, but if you're a skateboarder, you can find some enjoyment out of this game. I just can't imagine, you know, a $50 price tag on this game. We're talking 20, 30 bucks, you know, definitely a little more interest is peaking at it. At the $50 price point though, I think most people will want to stay away. You've seen what the game looks like, but if you're willing to stick it out and mess with the controls a little bit and you have a love and appreciation of skateboarding, you'll find something to play in this game, because the more I'm sitting here, the more I kind of want to dive back into it. And the more I want to, you know, do certain tricks in certain spots and real world locations. And I guess, you know, maybe I'm just crazy, but I kind of enjoy it a little bit. So those are my thoughts on this game. If I had to give this game a numerical score, I'd give it like a 6. I'm not giving it a 6, but I would give it like a 6 because, you know, it's mediocre. Maybe a little lower, maybe a 5. I don't know. So those are my thoughts on Session Skate Sim. 95% of you people will want to stay away from this game, but the 5% of you know, if you get it, I think you get it. And if you don't get it, trust me, stay away from this game. Let me know in the comment section down below if you even knew this game was coming out, because I sure as hell didn't. It just popped up on the eShop and I was like, all right, I need to buy it. It's for the culture, people. It's for the culture. And as always, thank you guys for watching this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit that bell notification as well. My lunch is ready. I want to go eat it. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.